news for a lot of people who used such a popular system as a rules. A lot of people were concerned when IBM announced end of life for this product, but it was moved to open source, and people worried about support. And now we have our next presenter is Alex Porcelli. Alex spent more than a decade in Red Hat, and he played a key role in Drools and other business automation products of Red Hat. And this product highly popular, highly used in real-world applications, and I have a lot of personal friends over there, and I was happy to learn when Alex and other people from Red Hat started new company, and this is Aletyx, and now they have products, they announce serious support behind this, and they already have new development. They expanded this product, and we will hear about this right now. Alex, take over.
Thank you very much, Jakob. Very nice introduction. Very flattered by that. And with not more, let's get it started on the topic. And in Aletyx, when we started this journey, one thing was clear. We need to combine the worlds of decisions and GenAI. Because when ChatGPT came out in 2022, it took the world by storm. It changed the landscape. The magical interaction that the LLM were able to provide, that moment, it sparked many ripple effect in the IT world, like how we as an industry can take advantage of that. The experience working with ChatGPT or any LLMs are magical. So it has understanding of the context that you provide. It has all this natural language interface. It feels that it's learning from you. There is a communication. Of course, that's not exactly, and there's debate about that. That's not topic of this presentation, but it has this rich exchange of information between the human and the machine. And it generates content. So there is an aspect of creativity associated with that. However, there is some level of risks when you're looking to the enterprise world, because the same magical experiences that LLMs provide are the ones that provide risk for the enterprise. Because if you ask the same questions twice, you're gonna have different results. And this is not a bug. That is exactly a feature of the LLMs, because the creativity comes with that ability to have some randomness at some extent when you go to the next tokens. So you have the unpredictable outputs, you have the risk of hallucination. It has been improved quite dramatically, I'd say, on the hallucination side. They are not coming up that many times with their own things, but it happens. It's still a statistical model that aims to answer everything that you ask. There is a fundamental non-deterministic behavior that we'll cover later, and there is also the challenge of the governance. And recently, we are seeing some reports saying that the enterprise is struggling to adopt GenAI. It's not like, and let's make it in different ways how GenAI has been adopted. It has been adopted, and I would say successfully, to augment some interactions. Those interactions like summarizations, generated text, reviewing content in general, or in the development world, generating code, reviewing code. This has been substantial changes, and they are here to stay, I'd say. But when you're looking to the bigger picture, there's a huge investment, billions and billions of dollars in the world of AI that needs to do a little bit more than what it's been doing to the business itself. One thing is to improve humans' productivity, which is great, which is, I think we are seeing that happening left and right with GenAI. But there is concerns about how you can bring this closer to your core business. And I would say there is a fear to miss out, a FOMO at this moment with all tech executives, how they can bring GenAI to the core business in a way that avoids some level of risk. Because there is a fear that some startup in Silicon Valley today, they may get into that business domain and they will be AI native. And what means the AI native? So the interface, everything may change. So there is this dynamic. But the reality, again, back to the enterprises, when you have a lack of determinism, no ability to audit the results, you don't have the meter of compliance, it is very complicated to bring this to core business, even more in regulated industries. So the real requirements for enterprise AI, it has to bring some core values that has been in place in the decision management space for decades. So it is expected any system, and again, that's how companies interact. When a company, enterprise, has signed a contract, there is obligations that are defined in the contract. You cannot play by the term, like by statistical, that sometimes you may result in A or sometimes result in B. It's again fantastic for interaction and creativity, but business cannot be all the time about creativity. You need to follow some rules. So what do you expect is deterministic behavior. So the same input, you get the same output. Think about the mortgage application. You expect that when you run your data, when you run it again, you have the same results. Otherwise, the regulator will have a lot of questions about it. You expect that it's auditable. You expect that you have some ability to trace that decision at some extent, and have a way to explain why that decision were made. And of course, there is also the governance pillar, which has been evolving on the GenAI space. But again, when talking about the decision specifics, is very challenging when you're looking for the AI, GenAI space. So how you make these requirements into the GenAI world? Seems like you are trying to get a square into a circle, or vice versa. How we see now, take a little bit our approach in Aletyx, we see that this is a fundamental problem that you solve by creating a hybrid AI. Basically, you combine the strengths of both AI, because let's not forget that symbolic AI is also AI. It's a different branch of AI, of course. It's not statistical as the Gen AI is today, machine learning and statistical models, but it is fundamental AI. So here, the power that you can create is having all these rich interactions with the Gen AI, like this human interaction that feels, again, magical, with, at some extent, when you go to a policy decision, you still rely on your decision models. In this case, we are talking about DMN. The goal of this presentation is not cover the basics. As mentioned by Jakob, rules is somewhat well known. It's very popular technology. DMN also very popular. It's a vendor neutral spec, so it is also great. Rules the same. It's open source, has been moved to Apache Foundation. And but focus here is like, let's take a look what's the difference that Aletyx is providing in this context. How we approach differently the decision space on the context of GenAI. So we create a mechanism that is patent pending as of now, that we are able to expose any DMN model automatically as an agent to the agentic world of GenAI. Basically, it exposes capabilities from DMN models, and the LLMs are able to interact with the models, and not only interact, but also execute not the LLM will execute, will delegate the engine, which in Aletyx case is built by, it's built on top of rules, that it will execute that model. But all the rich interactions with the inputs can be captured in the LLM. One thing to point it out, all this without any custom coding required. Drools is very developer intensive, I would say. So developers are the target audience. But in this case, we built a solution that is completely transparent. So all you need is, if you have MCP available in your class path, in your application, it will automatically create all this infrastructure for you. So let me introduce myself a little. Yeah, Jakob already started. I am first member of Drools community for almost 20 years now, 17 to be exact, my first commit. I am part of PPMC on Apache Key. Apache Key is the umbrella project that hosts Drools, others GBPM and Cogito. So I'm part of the PPMC group. My enterprise background already mentioned. I have more than 10 years in Red Hat. I led the transition from the product from Red Hat to IBM. And I play leadership roles in both companies on this technology for over almost 15 years now. And this year, me and some colleagues, we founded Aletyx to be a new vendor on this space, focused on the Apache Key technologies today. So what we are doing here, what this exactly means? So how we are operating these DMNs and the interact with LLMs are basically through MCP, the Model Context Protocol. One image that is very popular when trying to explain MCP, and I think it fits the bill at some extent, is the use of USB-C adapter. So the USB-C is basically a universal plug today. You can plug and charge and do whatever with multiple devices. MCP aims to be something similar to interact with external world and LLMs. And this is very powerful. So it creates dynamic agent capabilities, because those MCP can be automatically discovered and can be automatically provided through the system. And how we are doing basically is creating a set of tools. That's the language you use in the MCP world. We create a set of tools that make it available to LLMs, and it's able to prompt or system prompted the LLMs to use and rely on that tools when some key elements are in the interaction. Here we have a basic flow, how it works. So the user enter a text that say, can I approve a loan for this amount and I have this credit score. And the flow that happens is the MCP is available. So there is MCP that's provided by Aletyx, as I mentioned, automatically in your system. It first goes and hits the catalog. So it goes to the catalog and check if there is any service or decision that is matching with that demand. Once there is a match, the second step is the LLM will be able to verify what is the execution schema. So what is the input that is expected? So we have a tool that provides the schema. And then the second is there is an execution path that we provide as well. So then it goes back to LLM. LLMs get the user input, transform that in this case in the JSON format, and execute that and get the results back. And what's interesting when the results is coming back, so of course it's another JSON file or JSON format, but naturally the LLM will change that to something more meaningful, and that's using language like natural language, say just approved, not a payload of a JSON. So what we have, as I mentioned, we have a catalog, a decision detail, which is also fantastic. to rely. DMN specific on that is very powerful because it is open standard. And by open standard means that at this point, all the LLMs have internalized the knowledge about the DMN. And we can play with that in a second in a demo. If you just drag and drop a DMN file into a Claude, for instance, Claude Desktop, they are able to, without any prompt or any system information about the DMN spec itself, it's able to explain. That's one of the reasons, because as is public data available around DMN specification, the LLMs are well trained on that material. And when you provide the DMN decision in terms of details, they are able to explain to the user the reason behind that decision. So there is the schema and the execution itself. The catalog gives the ability to browse available decision services, understand the purpose of the decisions, filter by domain, and retrieve metadata. The details give ability to explain. This is very powerful in some interactions. We'll try to see that in a demo. The caveat to demo is that the interactive LLMs is always challenging. We'll see how it plays out. The schema is also a very critical part, because then we provide the JSON schema, how your input should be modeled to be executed by the engine. So this is an important tool, and the execution itself that gets the input, and you have the deterministic execution. So it creates it enables a rich interaction, but rely on a very solid decision model technology. So we mentioned these Truls. Truls is very developer native, I would say, very close to developer world. So this technology is a native experience to developers. And we support both runtimes, the most popular runtimes today, using Spring Boot or Quarkus. And again, this is built on top of our own build of Truls. We did some optimizations on Truls itself in Aletyx here. And in some specific use cases, we are seeing improvement performance up to 30 times what is available in the community. And we also made some adjustments to make upgrades easier, some aspects for enterprise, and of course, this new AI capability. Let's give it a try with a live demo, and this is always the challenge. Let's see if the demo gods are going to be helping me out. Give me 1 second. So the first demo that I've shown is, again, very focused on developer, the experience that Truls users are very used to. We provide in Aletyx, this Start Aletyx. It's the scaffolding mechanism that you can play with. And in this case, what you're going to do is an intelligent decision service. I will download this project. Unzip it, okay, and let me go here, so then and open my VS Code. This is VS Code application using a standard DMN model here. Simple final discount. There's some logic here behind, but we will play this in a second a little bit more. Well, there's some Quarkus here that should have. Let's open the terminal here. Let's first try to compile this. Hopefully everything is going to be good. Okay, everything worked. And now let's get, okay, this is a Spring Boot application, and let's run this as a Spring Boot application. Okay, so the application is up and running. Now what? As I mentioned, this is automatically, if you look, it's a very standard Spring Boot application. There is just the application here, and the DMN using the Drools regular dependencies is, of course, our own build, but you have the Drools dependencies here for Spring Boot, very similar to what you do in any application. The difference here is that if you're using Aletyx build, it will automatically behind the scenes build the MCP infrastructure for you. And now let's interact with that MCP experience, and that is the fun part. Let's bring up Claude. Okay, so Claude is here, and this is always a little bit scary because sometimes it fails, sometimes it goes well. This time, of course, it failed. It didn't capture the remote that I have running. I'll try it again, otherwise I'll have to redirect to a different demo. Second, it's shutting down now. Okay. Okay, it's getting there. Okay. Let's try it again. Okay, the application has started. And let's try to bring it again, Claude Desktop. Okay. As you could see, I did nothing, but now it works. Cloud Desktop is a little bit unstable. That's usually why we have a different type of demo usually, but I want to go very raw here and show the capability. And now that I have as an external tool, the remote example here in this case, you have the discount policy JSON schema, the execution DMN model itself. I will bring it up some chat that I have before, so you can have a better understanding. So I'm a VIP customer and I want to make a purchase of 10, it's a 10,000. Do I have any discount? And if you go back here, this is basically, you see the value discount. So you have some level of discount for the value. And you have a relationship discount depending on the tier that you have. And there is some specific that computes the final results based on whatever number it is. Back in here, let's try to execute this fresh and see how it goes. As you can see, it is already pulling the information from JSON schema that is available. Now it is getting the DMN model information itself, and now it is executing the model by itself. So it's calculating the customer discount, and this is the result. If I expand here, you see that there is the request and you see the response. So very standard rules execution, but like the interaction, the user interface that you can have is much more pleasant than that. And one thing that I mentioned is like, can you explain the DMN model decision, whatever. So it is able to give more information about that model. So it shows the input data, shows the decision flow. It is very powerful thing. You don't necessarily need to expose all this information. I just believe that it's powerful that you have this option. And I think DMN here, it's very interesting because if you are a Drools rule engine added author, you know that the rule engine goes very technical sometimes in case of Drools. DMN, I believe, provides the right level of abstraction when you define a decision, is more focused on the business itself. So all these explanations are more clear to business users. Okay, so first part of the demo, somehow it worked. The second time, it was better than nothing. Let me bring it back some slides and continue. I have a little bit more to show. 1 second. Okay, bring it back here. The thing is, not everyone is a developer, right? So especially in the DMN world, what we see on the, especially my view of the world based on all the tools implementation that I've been involved on, DMN usually is start to be adopted by the engineering group, the developers, associated with the DRL, with the BPMN and everything, part of the Apache Key package. But as the application progress and developing more the models, it started to create a very interesting dynamic that business people want to interact more with that models. They want to play with that models. And so far, we didn't have a tool for that, but not part of the Apache Key. So when we founded Aletyx, one of the tools that we aim to build is something that is more tailored for non-developers, something that non-developers can interact with the same technology. In this case, the DMN and the Drools engine behind the scenes. So we built what we call decision control. It is one appliance that has everything on it. So you can author, you can test, you can deploy, there is integration, and there is also LLM integrated into that. So all that capabilities that I show you directly in the code, you provided the same MCP available when you're running this appliance. So it is too also friendly to developers. It is connected to Git repositories if you want. There are some interactions. You have the APIs to access as well, the REST endpoints based on code generation. Everything is versioned automatically behind the scenes. So it's a friendly tool for developers and non-developers. That's the thing. So business authors have a guided experience, but developers also have the power to interact with that tool. Let me go a little bit and give it a quick demo of this interaction. This is the interface that we have for decision control. You go for authoring. The authoring should be familiar for the Apache Key users. It is heavily inspired by the interface of Sandbox that it allows you to interact. Let's use this simple model. So in this author environment, you have the model that you can edit regularly here. You can run the model as well with custom interactions, and you see, oops, let's put some different number here. You see the direct interaction. You have ability to highlight some items where it was hit. Let's get here the credit score rating. When you get 60-50, hits the thing. But if you go 900, it's too far. I can't type today. So, and then you see the interactions. But one thing that is powerful from this experience is you are not only interact with the model in terms of authoring, you can still save this to GitHub, to or any Git provider, Bitbucket or GitLab. But you, as a tool that is friendly from non-developers, you can just publish it from here. So when you publish it from here, I activated the model. Let's get back at this, and I have the management. At this point, the model that I just push the button to publish, it is already available. In this case, it's a second version. It is available to be executed. And what means to be executed? So first, you can play with version here. So you can add information here in the and play with the execution. I think I need to give some numbers here. Amount, let's give whatever. Insurance, give some numbers everywhere. Employed, existing customer. Okay, let's see if I execute, there's no error. Yeah, I think it's good. And one capability that we have here is the ability to execute and explain. So this is connected to AI. In this case, we are connected with Anthropic, and it is giving the execution, the results that we are seeing here. But it will also run the model, the execution plan, and then you give more business information and technical information about that execution. So you can play with that. There is, of course, all the endpoints that you can execute. In this case here, you have API runtimes, whatever, thing that you can get access through the Swagger API, whatever. But you also are able to go to a prompt and play with interact with that models. So here I did some chatting before. So what decision models you have available? In this case, it qualify like you have the loan pre-qualification. Can you describe the model? And then it provides all the information the model had. Create a quick prompt so I can execute the model. And then it is create the prompt, but in JSON input. So I ask it, can you provide English-based prompt? And then it provides this rich prompt so I could interact with. I executed that, and I had the evaluation. Let's do something here. We can go and do team live here. We'll try to execute. So I executed that. The results came. Credit score evaluation or FICO is 720 is good, but at the end, the status was qualified in this case. So in this case here, I'm executing right now, and I'm already qualified. And if I go back to the management, how I know this is being executed and not the model coming out with whatever random stuff, is that I have the execution here that's going up. So if you have the success rate here, that's 14 executions. That's basically a few tries that I did before the presentation to make sure it was working, and the ones that I just did now. So we have all these capabilities available in the decision control as a single appliance that you don't need all developer tools or anything like that. Let me get back to the slide. We are coming to an end. So one capability that we also have part of the decision control is this, although the experience is pretty simplified, that you have all in one, that you can get the authoring to publish and to play with the AI, and you have all the endpoints. But we also provide the rollout enterprise for enterprises, which means that you can create staging environments and you are able to roll out. And in this rollout tool, you are able to connect and export your models to your repository, like a Git repository. You are able to select what models you want to move forward or not. So it gives the overall, you give independency for different teams to run. The autonomous, these appliances, but you can still have an entity or a group, probably IT related, that is able to execute this rollout with some governance on top. You have real-time monitoring with Prometheus. You have visibility of the decision itself or the whole system. This is a pretty simple technology to run. you run this in the Docker. You basically have a Docker container. You have a database for, we use Postgres, but if you're running in your local, you can just run Docker and you spin up a in-memory database to make it simple to play with. And the performance metrics with Prometheus is also optional. If you don't have, you have some information that will be displayed in the screen, but if you have provided the Prometheus, you have all the Prometheus information. Again, it's a unified experience. I already did the demo. And this is a quick recap. That's what this presentation was about. We started with the journey to how we empowered the DMN to become, through MCP, agentic player. We made it available for developers, and we also have a decision appliance that provides an enterprise-ready and unified experience. And that's it that I have to present today. And I'm opening for questions now.
Okay, Alex, thank you very much. And do we have questions? Please unmute yourself and ask questions. Okay. While people are thinking, may I ask specific questions? I know that Druls always had very good performance, and you just said 30 times faster. That's surprising. How did you do it? What happened?
There's some specific cases that our customers today were facing challenges, and we were able to make some adjustments and get up to 30 times faster.
In certain cases, or it's just on some benchmarks?
We have some benchmarks. We're not publishing those yet, but it's basically when you're doing rules orchestration. In rules orchestration, we get up to 30 times faster.
Okay, good. Okay, questions, please. Okay. So we don't have too many questions, but I want to stress one more thing. What you said, it's about a catalog. And so catalog for different decisions with access that could be automatically discovered by different GenAI tools. This is very interesting idea for community in general. And maybe after your presentation, if you wish, we can talk more about the DM community, and maybe we can make it available and promote it to wider audience. It's not only for users of your tools, but probably for different vendors, right? Is it possible?
Absolutely, we can talk. I've been on this community a little bit on the backstage for almost 20 years, and I'm happy to get more involved and we share more what we're building.
Yes, it's in general that now when Druls is back, this is a great thing, and I want to ask your team to more actively participate in DM community challenges, provide your own solutions. It will give you more visibility, and it would show that everything is intact, and plus new development, what you just demonstrated, it means future is bright. Thank you very much, Alex.
Thank you very much, Jacob.
Okay.